what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow 5 minutes just for people to ask questions when it's fresh in your mind. Before I do that, can I just encourage you at the coffee break to have a little look at the posters? There's some very interesting posters, including some really interesting information on the 5-point plan and so on from the EA. And there are lots of people here that are actually listed on your programme that are willing to talk ad nauseum about their various poster displays. So now, has anyone got any questions for our 3 speakers so far? Yes.
A general comment, especially I suppose to Andy and Stephen. Most of the stuff that's been talked about so far has been about salmon smolts. I'm intrigued to know whether they think autumn migrant pre-smolts, par, call them what you will, are a distraction, an irrelevance, maladaptive or adaptive, including percentages up to 20-30% of the kind of par population that might be going to smolt.
I'm glad we started with an easy question.
Yeah, where's Andy? Come up here, Andy. There he is. Well, I don't know. Do you have a comment?
Yeah.
I would say that we see autumn migrants, as we call them, on the Froome. They do make up a reasonable proportion of our population, and we do see them return as adults as well, which is interesting. We yet to thoroughly investigate whether they, trouble is they passed our system. Our system is about 8 kilometers upstream of the saline limit. So what they do when they pass us in autumn, what they do down in the lower part of the catchment, lower part of the river, is a little bit difficult for us to say with our current system. But of course, with some of these acoustic technologies, I think that perhaps might be a bit clearer. Andy, do you have
Yeah, there is about 20 or 30% do drop down. They don't actually go into the saline conditions. They drop down to the lower river. But I think the most important thing about autumn smolts is that they do tend to drop down below most conventional smolt counters before you start counting your smolts in spring. So there is the danger that you can underestimate your smolt production simply by having a smolt counter upstream of where the autumn smolts have gone previously, the previous autumn.
I suppose my comment is partly relating to sea trout smolts, pre-smolts, where in some rivers, maybe 20 to 30% do go into coastal waters, not just the lower river.
Yeah, well, I think the sea trout and the salmon are completely different. Certainly the sea trout do have very plastic in their life cycle, but certainly with the salmon, I think it's more fixed in terms of the autumn smolts. They do tend to drop down, and a matter of displacement. And as I say, you don't count them during the normal smolt assessment, which, as I say, does underestimate your general smolt production.
Thanks very much.
I agree completely with what Andy said, but I would say also that pit tag systems are sort of passive way of monitoring, and those pit tag systems tend to be, well, everything going properly. They're active all year round, so we do actually see the possibility, we do see those move on our systems. We don't get them in hand to measure them, to learn too much about them, but we do actually see them passing through. So that's one of the advantages, I think, of a pit system.
Yes, Ted, you had a question? And this
just in relation to that, I think it's a misnomer, isn't it? Aren't we increasingly showing that they're just normal par dropping down, which is quite common. They're not actually small. And I just checked with Andy, as far as I'm aware, they're not physiologically adapted to going to salt water. So if you identify or define a smolt as a fish which has actually gone through smoltification and is physiologically adapted, these aren't smolts. But in the salmon case, I'm certainly interested in the comment from the front to say that maybe 20-30% of sea trout actually emigrate into the sea. I've never heard that before. But I don't think these are salmon smolts. I think they're part.
Certainly in Burrishoole we get a large number of sea trout coming down, which we always call autumn par, because they go into a sea loch, so we've no way of knowing what they do in the sea loch, but we always call them par because we think they're par. But I think Andy's point is a good one. They're below where we can actually assess them at this point. Yeah. Sorry, this gentleman here had a question?
Just the photoperiod and the relationship with the early onset of smoltification, and when, at what point is there a relationship with photoperiod and early smolt, and the impact that that would have on increased larger fish throughout, if photoperiod kicked in, that the fish didn't smoltify and the carrying capacity for the rest of the year in the stream on bigger fish?
Well, I think there's probably other people in the audience can answer better the photoperiod, but I guess we have some evidence that maybe there's, so obviously the photoperiod and the temperature are both important for smoltification, and then the question arises if temperature starts increasing but photoperiod is not going to do anything, and then you're going to get maybe a bit of a mismatch, maybe related to diet and different timing effects. So yeah, I guess that increases the uncertainty of how temperature is going to impact. So I don't have an answer for you, but I think it's because photoperiod's not going to change, but temperature will.